All right, scope planning. I don't really want to, talk all about this, like spend another, half an hour on this, you see. So I think we just have to be quick about this. Basically, after the project charter is out, so you've got your project charter, and this project charter will really get you to proceed with your scope planning. So with the scope planning, this, from a project charter, you more or less are already set on a specific ideas, you see. Or you can actually do another round of idea selection between one and two, so you may have like five ideas, in the project charter, and then you pick one or two to proceed to do a more further study. Actually, in fact, most ideas should be about three. One is do nothing, which means don't do anything, and the other one is idea one, the other two is idea two, or at least you have two ideas, do nothing and do something, you see. So at least we'll also have to do two studies here. So in this specific project charter, we specify the scope of, we specify what the overall idea are. What is it a bridge project, submarine project, is it a military pentagon, Malaysia, is it a nuclear plant, is it houses, is it shop houses? So we still don't have a lot of like a lot of data. I mean, we have a lot of data to support our idea, but we don't really have the design or anything yet. Are we going to build like how many meters square, how big, how wide, how deep? We don't know yet. Okay, and spanning over A to B, yes, we know spanning over A to B. Exactly how long, how wide, we don't know. So to get an idea, maybe we can say that, at this stage, it is not even what we call a preliminary studies. Up to this point, it's just like a brief investigation report, if you can put it that way, you see. And now we are moving into the more serious things like preliminary investigation, and also site, sorry, we wouldn't be preliminary anymore, it will be site investigation, and going down to the site and do a preliminary design report. This is not a preliminary investigation report, it's a preliminary design report. And this is part of scope planning. So scope planning gets down to more, specific, they put the proposal to confirm on it, you see. And of course, this is the part that we do a lot of, studies on, cost benefit analysis, your CEA, your CPA, and then CPA, we remember I talked to you guys about this. CPA is more on monetary value, CEA is more on physical things that cannot be expressed in terms of monetary value. And then we are also talking about financial evaluation, which is the viability studies. Do you have the financial viability, cash flow, and funding? Where does the funding comes from? Who is going to pump in money, and how fast is the return? What is the payback like? So these are the studies that we are going to embark onto for the project before we can say yes, move in and do the design now. Okay, so so again, um, these are sorry. So this analysis here, we are preparing. This is the steps of preparing a CPA. Identify the benefits, identify the costs, calculate the net benefit based on the field, where net present value, IRR, ROR, and then what else, payback period. So this is engineering economics. We're doing a lot of engineering economics at this point in time, so I can show you a little bit more when I see you in the near future. If I really cannot see you, I will probably have to find some notes that that you can read, and do a bit of calculation on it. But like I said, it's a lot better if I see you and go through it with you, you see. And then so then you study, and this is a time that you also will do some risk assessment studies and all that. So the second part is also you're doing feasibility studies. So these feasibility studies, again, feasible feasibilities, also you are seeking the question of, is it possible? Like economic study is part of feasibility studies, but it is talking about options versus options. Viability studies is it financially sound? So when we talk about feasibility studies, we're also including things like social economics, and also we're also including things like technical, a lot of technical. Remember, technicality is very important. Life cycle costing is the part that you really need to do a bit of study here as well, because if you don't do your life cycle costing, then the operation cost of this particular project may be a bit too much. Then it may not be feasible, you see. So this is where your life cycle costing will come into picture. So in doing your feasibility studies, you are also looking into, what are the best way of procuring, what are the market acceptance like, what are the market demand, would it be really, do your surveys and all that, so I think for people who has gone through IDP in UNIMAS, this is quite common. You do your study on your project. What is the demographic, what is the sociology, transportation services, general infrastructures, and so feasibility studies are all these sort of things, you see, all these sort of things. And most importantly, I think technical stuff is also very, 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 possibility of the technical issues are all being stated here as well. Okay, so well, these are what should be in a feasibility studies, risk assessments, you see. So from here, once you've done all this, you basically already, have a lot of data that will actually tell you, including risk data, and this is the content, economic analysis, social impact, all this is part of the, and financial analysis, financial analysis. This is also part of the this is also part of the feasibility studies. So this is called viability studies, but normally we don't really have a separate studies. It's always together. Cash flows, fundings, life cycle. So you see, all this is part and parcel of your feasibility study. So you have to do this, before you can define your scope of work. Okay? And then these are a lot of decision making. Okay, then we reach scope definition. So in terms of scope definition, you are basically, now you already know this is the project, you're going to build a bridge, you more or less know the soil data, you have the data collection, you have to where is it point A, point B that you're going to build. It's like in my case, for example, I give you a very simple example. We're doing some work on this raw water intake tank. So I already have my data, like what is my water quality like, what is the tide conditions, where are the high point, where are the low point, what are the topography plans, and then this is a part that previously I've already studied whether I want to build it in a platoon way, or do I want to build it in the well way, or do I have to have a massive structure, am I going to have a fender, so a lot of things is already being stated. So in scope definitions, we more or less have an idea of what to design now. Okay, then you're just producing a preliminary design, on your scope of work. And again, why do you need a preliminary design? Just go straight to the design. You see, you have to remember, if you don't do this, there's a good chance that the project will still be aborted at this point in time. So this is the point that you still have to calculate all your preliminary cost estimates, which is the cheaper options and all that. Okay, and then from here, you will be presenting it to the client, the preliminary scope of work. Okay, so to give you a recap, from your planning, like I said, feasibility studies is about options, about comparing options in many, many, many ways, collecting data, technical data in many, many, many ways, so that after that, from there, you're defining, okay, now I've narrowed it down, this is the answer to it, I need to build water intake tank because the old one cannot use, I need to build high level water tank tower because the old one cannot supply anymore, I need to build a new treatment plant because the old one cannot supply anymore. So from this idea, you are actually coming up with like an option again, to match which one is a better one. Like you tinker with it, okay, and this is a good point when we do value engineering.